Good morning students. Today we are going to discuss very important topic, that is Q factor of LCR circuit. Now this is from chapter 7 and the chapter 7 is your alternating current. Now before discussing Q factor, let me try to explain the graph. Now you see this is a graph between current and angular frequency. Now the graph shows that the current is maximum at a particular frequency, and that frequency is your omega naught, and that frequency can be defined as your resonance frequency. Now already we have discussed the condition for resonance. Basically at resonance, inductive reactance is equal to the capacitive reactance, and under that condition the impedance is nothing but the value for the resistance, that is R, or you can say the LCR circuit behaves as a resistive circuit at resonance. Now we are going to use this parameter in defining Q factor. Now you see omega 1 and omega 2 is the frequency other than the resonance frequency, and at resonance the current is your I naught, and frequency other than the resonance frequency, that is corresponding to omega n omega 2, the current is your I naught by root 2. So from here you can say that at frequency omega 1 and omega 2 the impedance is high compared to the impedance at resonance. Now that parameter we are going to use it here. Now you see we have written omega 1 equal to omega naught minus delta omega. So delta omega is the gap between omega 1 and omega naught, and gap between omega naught and omega 2. So omega 1 equal to omega naught minus delta omega, and omega 2 equal to omega naught plus delta omega. Now we are going to use this equation, number 1 equation. It has a similarity with the Ohm's law, that is V equal to IR. So in place of R we have considered the impedance of the LCR circuit. Now Z is your impedance, and impedance is your root over R square plus omega L minus 1 by omega C whole square. Now I naught is the current corresponding to the resonance, and at resonance the impedance is your R. So that condition we have written omega naught L equal to 1 by omega naught C. So omega naught L is your inductive reactance and 1 by omega naught C is your capacitive reactance, and at resonance the current is your I naught, and impedance is nothing but is your capital R, because the circuit behaves as a resistive circuit. Now we'll try to compare the impedance part corresponding to the equation number 3. This should be number 3. So be careful regarding the number of equation. So as there are many equations, that's why there will be some mistakes. So this is your number 3. So we are trying to compare the impedance part corresponding to the current I naught and I naught by root 2. So from this we can say that the impedance is high in case of frequency corresponding to omega 1 and omega 2 compared to the impedance at resonance. So that is nothing but as I naught and I naught by root 2 is there, so you can generalize for the impedance that impedance at resonance is your root 2 times that of the impedance at frequency omega 1 and omega 2. So that's why we have written equation number 3. You can compare this with respect to this graph. So impedance is high at frequency other than resonance frequency because current is less. It's your given I naught by root 2. So impedance at omega 1 and omega 2 is root 2 times the impedance at omega naught. So that one we have written. Impedance at omega naught is your R, because the circuit behaves as a resistive circuit, and that is your root 2 R equal to impedance at the frequency omega equal to omega 2. So root over R square plus omega 2 L minus 1 by omega 2 C whole square. So if you take the square both side, then it's your 2r square plus, in place of omega 2 we have substituted the value omega naught plus delta omega. So omega naught plus delta omega L minus 1 by omega naught plus delta omega C whole square. So if you expand, or if you take the omega naught common, then it becomes omega naught L 1 plus delta omega by omega naught minus 1 by, if you take omega naught common, omega naught C 1 plus delta omega by omega naught with the square. Now square goes off, r equal to omega naught L 1 plus delta omega by omega naught, and 1 by omega naught C you can write omega naught L from here. So in place of 1 by omega naught C we have written omega naught L, and we have 1 plus delta omega by omega naught to the power minus 1. Now we have taken the common omega naught L from both terms. So first term 1 plus delta omega by omega naught minus, if you apply binomial expansion, because delta omega by omega naught is very small, so you can write 1 minus delta omega by omega naught. So omega naught L, if you expand, 1 minus 1 goes off, it becomes here 2 delta omega by omega naught. So omega naught by 2 delta omega, omega naught by 2 delta omega is your omega naught L by R, omega naught L by R. It's a simple. Similarly, you can define omega naught by 2 delta omega is your 1 by omega naught CR. So what you have to do, you have to replace omega naught L by using this one, 1 by omega naught C. Here we have replaced 1 by omega naught C by omega naught L, and if you want to derive this equation, what you have to do, you have to replace omega naught L by 1 by omega naught C. So you will get this omega naught by 2 delta omega 1 by omega naught CR. So these are the two different parameter, but for the same expression, omega naught by 2 delta omega. So as per the requirement or as per the supplied value, you can define omega naught by 2 delta omega. Basically this Q factor is nothing but is your omega naught by 2 delta omega. Now you can predict Q factor will be high if 2 delta omega is less, and 2 delta omega will be less if there is a sharp fall of the rise. If there is a sharp fall of the rise, then the width becomes very small, and under that case Q factor will be very high. So omega naught by 2 delta omega, you can write omega naught L by R as already have defined, or 1 by omega naught CR. So Q factor or quality factor is defined as the ratio of the resonant angular frequency, that is your omega naught, to the bandwidth, that is 2 delta omega of the circuit. So Q factor will be high if 2 delta omega is less, and 2 delta omega will be less if there is a sharp fall of the rise. Now next topic which we are going to discuss is your transformer. Now you see there is a iron core is there, and over the iron core we have wounded two coil. Coil is made of basically of copper, and in one coil we have connected a source, and one coil there is a load. Now the coil where we have connected the source is your primary, and the coil where the load is there is your secondary. Now you see in primary the number of turn is high compared to the secondary. So if it happens, then that transformer is known as step down, because output it lowers, because output is nothing but secondary. So similarly, if you make number of turns in primary is less and number of turns in secondary is high, then it is step up transformer. So it works on the principle of mutual induction. Now what is mutual induction? If a source is connected in a coil, so what will happen? Current will start rising, and simultaneously magnetic flux also increases. Now this change in flux is linked with the secondary, and as a result you will get an induced EMF in the secondary, which is nothing but E suffix S, provided primary and secondary is very close to each other. Now construction part, coils are wounded over laminated soft iron core. Now why the laminated core we have taken, that part will come afterwards. Now if you apply Faraday's law, then it becomes easier. Primary EP equal to NP d phi dt. NP is nothing but is a number of turns in primary, and ES is nothing but number of turns in secondary. ES equal to NS d phi dt. Now d phi dt is nothing but the change in flux. So whatever be the change in flux in primary, same change in flux in secondary. We are considering the ideal condition, and this is possible when primary and secondary is very close to each other. Now if you divide this expression ES by EP, considering this one secondary, EMF in secondary divided by EMF primary, then you will get NS by NP. So this is one equation you are getting from 1 and 2. Now for ideal transformer, input power equal to output power. Power is nothing but EMF and current. So ES by EP, you can write IP by IS. So if you compare 3 and 4, it becomes IP by IS equal to NS by NP. So the ratio NS by NP is known as transformer ratio. So this is very important. And in exam also, transformer ratio it is used to ask, or in numericals you will get. Now this is your transformer, and there will be a step up and step down as per our requirement. Step up is there if the secondary turn is more compared to the primary, and step down if the primary turn is more compared to the secondary. Now there are some losses of transformer. One is your copper loss. Now basically the coils are made of copper. So when current flows through the coil, heat will produce using the expression H equal to I square RT. So some energy get wastage if you take thin wire, because thin wire, if you consider R equal to rho L by A, so resistance will be high because area of cross section is less for thin wire. That's why it is advisable to take thick wire, so that the amount of energy produced will be less, or the amount of heat produced will be less. So this is one copper loss. Next is flux leakage loss. Here in the expression we have considered change in flux in primary is equal to the change in flux in secondary. But this is the ideal condition, and always there is a possibility of imbalance of the flux link with the primary and secondary. So as much change in the flux in primary may not be equal to the same change of flux in secondary. So, and this one is known as flux leakage loss. And next one is your eddy current. Eddy current, basically what happened, this is your iron core. So when current flows through the iron core, some eddy current is produced. Eddy current already I have discussed, circulating current, and as a result some amount of heat is produced in the core. Now to minimize this one, what is used to do, instead of taking a block of core, iron core, what is used to do, some laminated sheets we used to take, and we have to place one above the other, so that we used to get a core, but it is in a laminated form, so that the amount of heat generated can dissipate between the interface of the laminated plate. So this one is known as eddy current loss. Okay, some amount of heat is produced due to the circulating current if you take a solid block of iron core instead of laminated iron core. So this is all about your losses of transformer, and sometime in exam it is asked, explain the losses of transformer. So go through this part. This part is important, and try to find out your doubts. Thank you.